Hey, everyone. Uh, I, as you know, I've been so busy over the last few weeks, and I gave some updates, but of course not all. There's been just so much transpiring. Also, there was a very important high divine mission that was uh, it was carried out, it was fulfilled, it was a success by Sharon and I in Jerusalem. However, I wish to just recap some things. Hi, everyone, love you. I just wish to go back a little bit and come forward. So I'll go back about a couple weeks ago. As many of you know, to recap the energetic events leading up to the most important time, which occurred on December the 28th. As you can just look on the timeline, just on my timeline on Facebook, just before this live, you'll see just one of the confirmations. However, there's been many, and there's a pure white dove. I love them. There are many here, and they're just so beautiful. See if you can see them. There you go. I don't know if you could see them or not. I hope so. So the white dove, and you all know what that symbolizes, the grace of God in the least, and that is what we all are. So I'm very thankful, Father, and for that beautiful confirmation right at the time of this live to share with you all. And as you can see, I'm up on top of um, a roof, and the place I was directed to come to stay here. And having said that, no, there are no coincidences, and it's not a coincidence that a symbol of grace goes by right at this time. So, getting back, okay, a couple weeks ago, um, we left Budapest. So just recapping briefly, Dragon Brother and I, we went to Budapest, Hungary, from Croatia, and guided to do so because the ley line in Budapest had to be anchored down more securely. It was connected also to the master portal that 12 of us opened in Regine, Croatia. And so we anchored it down in Budapest, and you had saw pictures of the beautiful pink sky uh, and the beautiful pink cloud all over Budapest that I took from the plane after Dragon and I parted there. He went where he was going in Ireland, and I had to come to Tel Aviv. But it's just before we got also to the airport there, before the pink was anchored in, the love energy. Um, there was a very important event that occurred, and I'll recap that because it is important. While we were driving towards the airport, I received the divine instruction from our divine councils and Father to release the egg. And I've mentioned this before. And what the egg was, what I energetically implanted within a divine female. Almost a year ago, and it was an energetic egg which was in there, and it's very important what we, let's say, what you can think of in the physical, but you need to connect it to the energetics and all of creation to understand the full symbolism of integrating something into the timeline, something energetic, because we are creators, and that is the way it works. However, without rambling on about that, so I received the order from Father to contact this individual upon the surface and ask her to release the egg. So she would just energetically think about it and release it. And upon that occurring, many things, many signs for I, but also for others, began to occur in the sky. And through that, I was showing the Golden Dome, showing where I had to go here, or where Sharon and I had to go as well. And there's just so many other important aspects. I'll try to keep it general. However, so what you had seen on this timeline, the next day after when we left Budapest, there was the photographer that got a picture of what looked like a blue planet. And as you know, it was the confirmation that the new timeline was released. It was the blue egg that energetically was placed within the divine feminine. And so it was setting up that the egg was set, and let's say the egg had to be fertilized during a 4-day period when Sharon and I were here together energetically to combine and fertilize. If you wish to look at it in this perspective, the new timeline, which is a combination of 50-50 feminine and masculine. So that's important to note as well. And as you can see, much of what I'm sharing, it would take so long to write this out. And but everything is just so beautiful and important. But now I need to go back. So we released that egg on, I'm uncertain when it was, December, maybe 19th, 17th. However, we released the egg then. So what that was the timeline was being prepared. That was the new timeline, the new 5D timeline. So now when the new 5D timeline or any higher timeline is being ready to come into fruition, to be in access to all, there is also anything that is not compatible with a higher timeline, it has to go. And in this case, it was a huge purging process that had to take place, and many of the masculine undertook it. I also participated in it, while the divine feminine held the higher spot, while many of us divine masculine dipped down in there with some of the old programming and conditioning from the masculine, so that it could be turned into the love with a transmutation process. As many of you that have been doing this for years, you know exactly what I'm speaking about, and also all of you should. It's in the beginning, it's an individual transmutation process, and however, we do it on the large scale once all of you are clean to sufficient degrees. And so this is also why I say that, once you've done your inner work and cleared yourself up, when any of the old things or patterns seem to come back, they're not yours. You're actually transmuting for the collective through that process. So when you've done your clearing, and if something odd comes up, just go into the state of love to transmute it into love, and then it's energetically integrated into the timelines that we all are on. So getting back, okay, I'm getting off track again. Getting back, so Budapest. So we come to Tel Aviv. Now, where the egg was released, let's say on our way to Budapest that day, and where we anchored in the love, Dragon and I anchored that in there. And Dragon's a very powerful as well divine comrade. And so then the stage was set for I to come to Jerusalem. However, what occurred is I didn't come directly to Jerusalem. I went to Tel Aviv. And the reason that I went to Tel Aviv is because I now know that it was lined up for other work we had to do. One of the bits of the one reason why is that also the surrounding Tel Aviv, because of the population here, as well as Jerusalem, where I now am, uh, part of the old negative um, imprint and the fear energy, what is encapsulated within individuals yet, the unawakened masses, it acts as a huge anchor and a negative weight that you cannot put in, or you cannot transition everyone into a higher 5D timeline with that magnitude of fear and all of the negative ways of being as well. You know, it's very beautiful here, and many believe in God. However, it's the imprint of the constant religious fighting and all of this over the Holy Land for, you know, centuries, which is not godlike for anyone to fight. It's God is sharing. However, it left such a huge negative imprint in this area that it needed to be cleared prior to Sharon and I being here for the 28th. So this is so what occurred. Again, there was a huge clearing process of this area that was taken on by all of the collective in whatever degree. The masculine would put out a lot of what needed to be purged from the masculine through them. They act as conduits, and the feminine was to stand in her power, and also to not give in to the old patriarchal lesser masculine ways. And by doing that, then the masculine were able to purge with the support and out of love, and to rise up to the divine feminine. So the most important exercise that was undergone, and it was all of the collective contributed, but it also had to be made to make the new timelines ready. As I mentioned before, you cannot go in to higher 5D timelines void of fear and negativity, with it still being present in the timelines we are in. So to transition that, there is that transmutation process. So, getting back to Tel Aviv. So at Tel Aviv, I stayed there, and three of us, another divine feminine and divine masculine, we had to go up to Mount Hermon, and up there was a master portal that was opened. And it was beautiful things with it. The phoenix was in the dove, and these were things that I had mentioned prophetically beforehand that was given in updates. Anyone that wants to check the validity of the prophetic things, you can. It's there, and it's out on timelines. Any of you that may have some doubt, it's all there. There's nothing to doubt when you look. All you see is the confirmations. However, so we administered up in the portal that we did certain anchored in the 10 sacred rays actually, and we amplified during that process the white, the blue, and the golden light. And now this was significant also because a few days afterwards, I haven't shared that, but the lightning, and in the sky there were blue flashes, and it's also a steady contribution to the divine rays, the divine sacred rays. Mostly the 7 were used, but by the other creators that are aware of it, we use 10. We use 3 that are not seen by the typical human eye yet. And So nevertheless, we did all of that. We anchored that in. We also just, all of you participated in. We spread it over Lebanon and Syria and also Israel here, preparing for the lockdown of the 5D and securing the 5D timeline here. So, trying to see here to keep it as short as I can. I think I got, maybe it's something you wish to see there. We got some chemtrails. First time though I've seen them. They're not over that way. So I'll switch those back around. Anyhow, oh, by the way, those are not my beer bottles. Someone else was up here. I don't drink alcohol. Just trying to see where I'm at here. Okay, there we are. So the camera got turned around. Well, I can turn it this way. So again, it was very important, that work and all in preparation for this time. I came to Jerusalem. There was a divine order instruction that I got, and it got very wonky, that Sharon needed to be here with us. She was back in New York taking care of her family business and her not things with her family, getting things in order that all has to do to some degree. So she was busy. However, she got here on the 28th and just in the nick of time, so that we could do the ceremonial, integrate it into the timelines. It had to be done with our physical vessels here. We could have did it energetically. However, for the legacy that we are leaving behind, Sharon needed to also be here in the physical. So as representatives, Sharon and I, both in the physical and also in our higher divine selves, were here. So to integrate it into these timelines, it needed to be done where there is a physical record of us being here at this time. And this also needed to be done so it could be attached with the confirmations of that have followed afterwards and that will continue to follow. Am I still running okay, you guys? Yeah, I guess so. Seeing lots of hearts. I might try to turn this back around. Try to find out how the... Oh well, now I got the flashlight on. I'm going to just end this one and continue so I can get the camera turned around. I'm not used to iPhones and these sort of things. So I'll be right back on shortly. Thank you. I love you all.